Welcome everyone to another Lake Lewis Jr. show. Appreciate you joining me as always. And as you can tell, I'm in beautiful St. Thomas right now, just for a quick getaway, kind of retool, get back to the season. We're coming back, on Wednesday, and then think about it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, everyone's going to be asking the question about the Washington Commanders. At 7-4, how good is this football team? Because over the past 2 weeks, they've lost games against the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously last Thursday, and then the Sunday before that against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I want everyone to know, yes, they did have 2 games that they could have won that they didn't, and they have to learn how to close out good football teams. But all this gloom and doom talk, folks, it has to go away. They are a 7-4 football team with a dreadful 3-7 Dallas Cowboy team coming to Northwest Stadium on Sunday. And if you are one of those people that all year long was saying it's too early for this team, you can't, put too many eggs in their basket as far as them being a playoff team, stop it. Cut all that nonsense out. This is a playoff football team. Need I remind you that they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-27 by 1 point. That's the same Pittsburgh team that beat the Ravens this past weekend to improve their record to 8-2 on the season. That's right, Pittsburgh is just a game behind Kansas City for the AFC home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So that's a loss that you can look back on and say, they were playing with Pittsburgh. They were playing with Pittsburgh without Andrew Wiley, their starting right tackle. They were playing that game without Brian Robinson, their starting tailback. They were playing that game without Marshawn Lattimore, their QB or CB number 1. These are teams that have aspirations of getting to the Super Bowl, and Washington was right there with them. So I think for the most part, everyone has to understand that this is in the first year of a recalibration with Adam Peters, with Dan Quinn, Josh Harris, owner as well. You have a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels who appears to be hitting a little bit of a rookie wall right now. But before you go off the deep end and say, oh, he's struggling and he's starting to look like a rookie, remember, they played an Eagles defense that's really found their niche right now. Great front four. They lost to a Pittsburgh Steelers team that's a top 5 defense as well. So I think people need to put things in perspective here. So we're going to talk about that today. Obviously, this isn't going to be a 35, 40-minute show because I'm on a little mini vacation. But I still wanted to reach out to some of you guys because just in looking at social media, everyone's running around with their hair on fire like Washington's done and it's over for them. I'm going to give you 6 reasons why the Commanders will make the playoffs when we come back from break. I'm going to give you 6 reasons why they will make the playoffs and why you should be booking your appointments to be at Northwest Stadium for a home playoff game. We'll talk about all that when we come back right here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Hang tight. Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show here from beautiful St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. If you've never been here, I encourage you to, come on over. You don't need a passport. All you need is your driver's license or a form of, ID. And I'm telling you, you will not regret it. It's a nice island, beautiful island, very quiet, very quaint. And no, they're not paying me to say these things, but I just thought I would throw it out there. 6 reasons why the Washington Commanders, though, I think will be in the playoffs. And those 6 reasons aren't 6 reasons like, oh, because of the coaching, because of the culture, because of the players, because of you, the fans. No, it's because of the 6 games left on their schedule. My God, if you look at their schedule, they have the Cowboys coming in on Sunday. Cowboys 3-7 after getting blown up last night by the Houston Texans 34-10. The Cowboys, if you look at their last 4 games, they've got demolished in every game. A week ago, the Eagles went into Dallas and just destroyed them, put a back alley slapping on them. Well, guess what? The Washington Commanders should do the same thing. I understand it's the Cowboys, it's the Commanders, the Cowboys, Redskins, whatever you want it to be, and that's a heated rivalry. But you know what? It's not the same. It's not the rivalry from when I was a kid, when DC shut down, when everyone couldn't focus in school, even at work. I remember my parents, my father was a Cowboys fan, my mother was a Redskins fan. They didn't speak during the week. It's not the same. It's a Cowboys team that's going south quickly, and they're going to stay that way for a while because the Joneses, Jerry Jones and his sons, have really, and I hate to say it, they've run that organization into the ground with terrible draft picks, with terrible, as far as how they ran their salary cap, and they paid Dak Prescott a lot of money, and they paid Their starting receiver, CeeDee Lamb, a lot of money. You have two players that are going to account for 65% of your salary cap next year. Two players that, for the most part, you can probably draft and get and put on rookie contracts, because guess what? Look at Washington. Drafted a franchise caliber quarterback in GeNienne Samuels, and he's going to be on a rookie deal for at least 2 more seasons before they have to, give him the mother load. We already know a Brinks truck will be pulling up in Ashburn in a couple years, but for right now, he's going to be on a rookie contract. Cowboys aren't in the same situation. And did I even say Dak Prescott's out for the season? They're starting Cooper Rush right now, and I'm not so sure Cooper Rush will be the starting quarterback when they come Sunday to Northwest Stadium. I mean, you never know. You could be looking at Trey Lance, because at this point right now, they need to see what's going on in Dallas, who's going to be there for the future, who's not going to be there. Who's to say they have a new coach come in, and everyone's talking about Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and all those things. Well, let's just say it is Coach Prime. Let's just say it's any other coach. Will they want Dak Prescott? But guess what? They're tied into so much money. That's not a good look. But when you look at the football game, Washington's the better football team. There's no mistaking that. There's no doubt about it. Dallas is susceptible to the run game. You look at what happened last night against the Texans, and you look at what they can do on their offensive side of the ball. They can't run the football. So this plays right into Washington's hands. I think if you're the Commanders, you come out, you establish your run early against the Cowboys, and you just take it to this team and have another game where the game's decided by halftime. If you look at some of the previous games that the Commanders have played at home, not the loss to Pittsburgh, because that's the only loss they've had on the season, but if you look at the game against Cleveland, that game was pretty much over with at halftime. You look at the Giants game in week 2 where they kicked the 7 field goals, they still were in command of that football game. Offensively, at least, they were able to move the ball. And I know Dallas has Micah Parsons, and they have Diggs on the outside, have Lawrence up front, but it's not the same. And the big key for this football game is who your head coach is, Washington fans. Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn came from Dallas, and they made a divisional team weaker when he came to Washington. So this is a game with him and Joe Witt. They should know the offensive tendencies for the Cowboys. They should know everything that Cooper Rush is going to try to do. They should know everything that Mike McCarthy is going to try to play call. Washington should win this game. To me, they should win this game by 2 touchdowns or more. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. And St. Thomas, you can hold me to this, folks. I'm predicting Washington wins that football game 31, Cowboys 13. That's my score. I'm going to say it again for you, 31-13. Well, I said 6 reasons why they're going to get to the playoffs. There's 5 more games left on the schedule after this Cowboys game. And think of the teams. You're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles once again. That's going to be the hardest game on the schedule. They played with Philly on Thursday night, folks. They played with them tightly at the link in Philadelphia. Yeah, the Eagles look like the better team. They absolutely did. I'm not going to take that away from them. Saquon Barkley, was a difference maker for them. A.J. Brown still did, some things. But I saw a Washington team that stuck around, that was winning that football game well into the 4th quarter. I'm still a little upset with Coach Quinn. I mean, I agree with everything he's done all year long. They've been one of the best 4th down conversion teams, but I still say they should have kicked that field goal and given the kid Gonzalez a chance to take the lead with 6 minutes left. They didn't do it. We know what happened after that. Outside of the Eagles, think of this. Look at this. They're going to have the Tennessee Titans, coming to town. That should be a win. They should beat Tennessee. They're going to have to travel to New Orleans. They should beat New Orleans. Come on, let's be upfront about that, folks. New Orleans, I don't know. Maybe Derek Carr being back could give them a little bit of trouble, but they're the better football team. The Commanders are. They should win that football game. And then, of course, they're going to have to travel to Dallas. They should beat Dallas again. So if I already just gave you 4 wins right there. Those 4 wins put you at 11 wins. And if they get to 11 wins, guess what? They will erase a record that only the Commanders, only Washington has over the last 30-plus years of play. And that's that they are the only team to not win 11 games in a season over the last 32 years. They're going to get to 11 wins, folks, because you know why? Because they still have the Falcons on the schedule. The Falcons with Raheem Morris and Kirk Cousins, they're in a little bit of a tailspin right now. The NFC South is wide open again. Don't look, yet, but the Buccaneers may still win that division. So I think the Falcons come into Washington second to last game of the season, and they get beat. That's going to have playoff implications. That puts Washington at 12 wins, I'm not saying that they're going to beat the Eagles. I do think that they have a great chance to split, and I called for a split, but that would mean Washington would be running the table. They would be winning their final 6 games, and I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist at the same time. So let's just say Washington goes 5-1 down the stretch. That gives them a 12, think about this, a 12-5 record that I think we all sign up for. If they go 12-5, not only do they get a home playoff game, there's still a small chance that they could win the division because the Eagles still have the Steelers. The Eagles still have the Ravens on their schedule. Those aren't gimme games. So I just wanted to throw out the reasons why I think Washington will make the playoffs and why Washington still has a chance to eclipse that 11-win mark. Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. And guess who I have joining me right now? She's with me, of course, in St. Thomas. You guys know how it goes. But she's someone that does an outstanding job, not just for me, but I mean, seriously, folks. She's the in-game host for the Washington Commanders. And we have none other than Miss GeNienne Samuels joining us. What's going on?
Nothing but a beautiful vacation. And I think you're a little biased, but thank you for the compliment.
I'm always going to be biased. You guys know how that goes. So listen, folks. I wanted to bring her on. A lot of you were saying, oh, if you're going on vacation, you got to put her on. Let us know where you guys are going. Well, I told you, we're in St. Thomas. We're having a wonderful time. We've come here several times over the years. It's kind of like our place away from home away from home. But we want to talk about the team. And this is a person, like I said, does a wonderful job. If you come to Northwest Stadium on Sunday or any Sunday, she's the person that keeps everyone happy and everyone hyped in the stadium. You see her on the Jumbotron. And also, before we get into that, she's also the evening anchor for CBS 6 in Richmond. She's a GOAT. She's doing great things. So I wanted to get you on and talk about, you were a former cheerleader for this team when they were the Redskins. You were a Pro Bowl cheerleader for the team as well. She went to Hawaii, folks. Yes, she did. You've seen it all. You've seen the bad days, and now you see a team that's 7-4. And I've been trying to calm you down at home because they started off so great, and now she's like, oh, she's getting a little anxious. And I keep trying to tell her the wheels aren't going to fall off. But what are you seeing right now? What's made you excited about this football team?
Pretty much everything. Obviously, winning makes you excited, but it's more than just the winning. It's how they are performing on the field as a team. It really does feel like a team out there that really want to work together, that want to do well for one another, that are happy for each other. When one person makes a great play, everyone collectively is happy for that person. Obviously, more recently, there's been a little bit of a disconnect. So how they were performing at the beginning of the season is a little bit different than what we're seeing out there on the field right now. But they are still able to stay in the games. It's still being, they're still being competitive, even though we've gotten a couple of losses the past couple of games. But I see energy. I see teamwork out there. I see people that genuinely love working for one another. I see a coaching staff that really cares about their players and really gets excited for those great moments, but stays calm when there aren't the great moments too. So collectively, it's just a better product on the field.
Well, I do want to ask you, because there are a lot of fans that still have the, PTSD and all that stuff. Do you feel like you're over that now? Like, do you feel like you really see a team that's a good football team?
Most definitely. But I have to admit, it took me a couple of games to see that. Starting as a Redskinette in 1999, I unfortunately saw the decline of the team, not just as it relates to the performance on the field, but also the season ticket holders. I saw seats being removed from then FedEx Field. I saw, season ticket holders selling their tickets and it being not really a home field advantage anymore toward the end of my time there as a cheerleader. So I saw the steady decline and the losses hurt. We always want to beat Dallas and we could never beat Dallas. It was very rare that we ever got that win. And so I started as a loyal fan talking junk all of the time and then realizing that you cannot continue to talk junk. And now I feel good about the team out there. I feel good about what is happening, but it did take me a couple of games to realize that this team is different.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of games to realize that GeNienne Samuels, like seriously, he is top notch. He is an elite player, and everyone around him is rising to the challenge of him. And that kind of happens, the whole saying, you're the average of the 5 people that you're around the most. And I feel like the team is elevating because of the coaching staff, because of ownership, because of GeNienne Samuels, McLaurin. Like, I feel like everyone is elevating together. So now that I am over this whole, oh no, is the ball going to drop, or oh my gosh, we're going to get the loss, or oh my gosh, the team's going to come back to us come back on us in the last minute of the 4th quarter. Like, now that I'm done with those feelings, now I'm like, okay, guys, let's pick it up. Like, where are we? We were great at the beginning of the season. Now we just have to get back to those fundamentals that we had at the beginning of the season.
I mean, those are all valid points. And I think for most fans out there, most fans feel the same way. I mean, I think this is a playoff football team. I've been telling you this all year long. I think that they're a team that literally has all the makings of a team that could not just make the playoffs, but get in the playoffs and do some damage. We all know the Detroit Lions look incredible right now. If Washington were to make the playoffs in their first year, my question to you, as a person that does a lot of, just so you know, GeNienne does a lot of, quality control for businesses and things like that, self-help, just constant improvement. If Washington were to make the playoffs this year, would it be setting the bar almost in an impossible state for them going forward?
No, not at all, because I feel like you can always do better. If we are starting this strong in the first year, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in a couple of years. You just build on the success that you have. You take and you look at, well, what worked well this season, who worked well, what units worked well together, and then you always look for what I call the OFIs, the opportunities for improvement. You look for those OFIs as well across the board, and not just the players on the field, but also everyone, all of the coaches, whoever's helping with the nutrition, the strength training, the rehabbing, all of that. Like, so what are the OFIs overall? And then you come up with a game plan on how to improve on those OFIs and then build on your strengths. And so if we're able to do that, then I feel like we're just going to continue to get better and better and better and better. Because this is, I mean, when you think about it, it's just like almost hard to believe that this is the first year of this collective unit working together, right?
It is.
And then not only that, but next year, this coaching staff is going to have even more opportunity to pull in and draft players and get other people on the team that they really think can add to what's already out there on the field. And it's only going to get better as it relates, with my job being in the stands with the fans. The fans are happy.
Yeah.
The fans are engaged. The fans believe. The fans are excited. The fans can talk junk finally, like with confidence. And that's just something that we haven't had in such a long time. And it makes my job easier, and it makes my job so much more fun as well, because overall the environment in the stadium in Northwest, literally it's just electrifying, and it's fun to be there.
Yeah. I mean, this is the time of the year right now that, normally for Washington in years past, we've had these conversations over the years, like, oh, here we go. I mean, it was work. I mean, it really was work.
Yeah.
Well, we don't feel like we've been working this year. I mean, it's
No.
been so fun, so competitive, so good to see these young guys working hard. And I've told you guys, even at practice, in the locker room, these guys are just a joy to be around. They talk to you. It's nothing like in the past. It really isn't. So I'm going to say this. You're going to see something that this team's never done before in the past 32 years, and that's win 11 football games. So I'm predicting that. I'm putting that out there in the air. She's big on throwing stuff out in the air and it sticks and all that good stuff.
Law of attraction.
Exactly. So we're going to do that. And for everybody out there that said, you're not getting GeNienne on, she's on the show with me. We're on our vacation having a good time, and we'll be back on Thursday. You'll see her Sunday, obviously doing a great job at the stadium, at Northwest Stadium, with the fans interacting, getting people on the Jumbotron, guessing how many shells and all those things, name the music, all that good stuff. And then, of course, I'll be back there as well, and you'll be able to see post-game recap on ABC back in DC. So wanted to bring on my babe. I hope she didn't mind me saying that, but I wanted to bring her on, get her on here. And although we're on vacation, we're still thinking about you guys, and we're still following what's going on with the team and everything like that. And I'll be back in practice on Thursday So we'll have more of a practice recap as we always give you. So again, folks, appreciate you joining me on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show with the star of today, Miss GeNienne Samuels. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys this weekend.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Can I get a hell yeah?
All right, folks, final segment here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show from beautiful St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands. This is a game coming up, once again, where Washington can get right. And they have to get back to doing the things that they were doing earlier in the season. I mean, the complementary football, all three phases were working. The offense played off the defense played for special teams. Everything was in unison. Hell, we didn't even see Tress Way kick a punt maybe until week 3. So this is a team that is capable of blowing teams out. We've seen that. This is a team capable of playing all three phases, which they haven't done over the last 3-4 weeks. You could even go back to the Bears game and say, yeah, maybe luck, the Hail Mary got them a win, but they struggled a little bit in that game towards the end, and it's kind of carried over for the last 3 weeks. This football game against the Cowboys, coming home, to a rabid crowd, a crowd that's really desperate for them to get back on the winning track. I think everything sets itself up for Washington, as I said. And remember, my score, 31-13, they beat the Cowboys. That's what I'm going to go with. But again, they have to get back to doing the things that they were having fun. Jaden Daniels looked like that dual threat, early in the year, was just making plays when he had to. And I hope that, people aren't in his ear about getting down and protect yourself. Let the man play football. This is a physical sport. When you sign your kids up when they're kids to play football, there's an opportunity for injury, and you don't want that on anyone out there. But you can't let them play scared, because when you play scared and you play cautious, that's when you get hurt. And you guys already know this. I don't have to preach this to you. So hopefully Marshawn Lattimore can finally make his debut for the Washington Commanders. Obviously, they traded for the 4-time Pro Bowler from the New Orleans Saints, and that was a move that sent shockwaves around the league that signaled that Washington wasn't trying to just win for this year, but for the long haul. And this is a guy that you don't want to put out there injured, because he's such a dynamic difference maker. I mean, he's a shutdown corner. He's a CB1, something that this team has lacked for several years. And I think it's going to be interesting, and I'm excited to see him paired with Mikey Sainristil, like I said, who had a game against the Eagles, did a great job against A.J. Brown. So if you have Marshawn Lattimore as CB1 and you have Mikey Sainristil, the rookie from Michigan, as CB2, your future looks really good in that secondary. Remember, Jeremy Chin's playing Pro Bowl caliber football at safety. Quan Martin's playing great football at safety. So if Washington can start to put their team back together as far as come back from these injuries, because we haven't seen the full unit yet. If they can put everything together, they're going to put themselves in position for a nice playoff run. So it's going to be interesting to see what transpires Sunday at Northwest Stadium and for the remainder of the year. Folks, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Lake Lewis Jr. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can do this right here on YouTube. There's a subscribe button right in the bottom right-hand corner, as you can see on there. You can subscribe to the show. The Lake Lewis Jr. is the channel, and it's the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube and on all audio formats. We're going to have a lot more that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the week. And remember, Fan Day. I don't think we're going to be able to do it tomorrow, Wednesday, because I'm going to be traveling back here from St. Thomas back to the States. But on Thursday, if you want to come on this show, email me. I have several emails from people who want to come on, and we're going to get that back to them and get them on. But we're going to do it now. Thursday at 5 o'clock will be the show for the fans, this week's rendition. So again, if you want to do that, all you have to do is DM me on social media, or you can email me. And you guys, mostly you have my email. If you don't, I'll give you a generic one. You can email me at lakelewisjr@gmail.com. Just email me that and we'll get you on the show. We've had a great time with that. Anthony Armstrong came on last week. I'm going to always have the fans, and I'm going to have a celebrity guest on with us to chop it up and talk about the Washington Commanders. As always, I greatly appreciate you joining me, and I'll be in touch with you real soon. We'll be back up on Thursday.